net. We're going to start today down on the mat. I've got a bit more of a chilled and relaxed class for you today than Saturday morning's class. So popping your bolster, block, cushion, whatever you might have there on your mat, just lengthways. And we're going to bring the hips up just in behind the cushion or bolster, or whatever you have, pillow. And just lying the body down over that and letting the shoulders separate out to either side. Now, if this doesn't feel good for you, if you've got any back issues or neck issues and that kind of thing, you may choose to just lie flat on the floor and make sure the shoulders are open, chest is open, and you're really just letting that chest broaden and the shoulders sink down towards the mat. Letting the backs of the hands fall down to the mat. We're going to take about 6 or 7 breaths here. And then from here, if you want a little bit more, you can bring the soles of the feet to touch and knees out nice and wide. Now you can do this if you're on your back or if you're in this supported fish pose. So this knees out wide, soles of the feet to touch, knees, gravity drawing the knees down towards the mat. It's going to open through the groin and give you a nice little stretch through there. So we're going to take about another 6 or 7 breaths here. And by breaths, I mean long, slow yoga teacher breaths. I encourage you to join me for these nice long breaths, letting the breath come all the way down into the belly, feeling the belly expand as you breathe in. Taking about 1 more breath here. Making no judgment whatsoever of what your body is looking like or feeling like. Make this practice today your own. So whatever that means for you, modify as you need. Just because I take one shape doesn't mean you have to take exactly the same shape. Then from here, I'm going to draw feet to the floor, knees up into the air, and then slowly push the hands back or roll off to the side. I'm going to come up to a seat and just grasp around the knees maybe, folding forward slightly. Take a little bit of a rock from side to side, maybe with the knees, just to release a little bit through the lower back, through the spine. Keeping that bolster exactly where it is. Feet come to mat width apart. And then we're going to drop the knees over to the side. Make sure that cushion, towel, pillow, whatever you have is right up against that hip. So you come to a seat with these sort of figure 4 legs. And then we're going to fold down over that bolster, block, whatever you have. So if you've got blocks or something, you may choose to bring the elbows onto the floor, forehead onto a block like so. Modify as you need for whatever you have. So a cushion or a pillow folded in half or something like that will suffice if you don't have a bolster like I do. I'm going to stay here in this twisted pose for about 12 to 13 breaths. Taking 1 or 2 more breaths here. And then slowly rising up. What we're going to do, keep the hands down on the mat like so. So you're still in this kind of twisted position. And from here, we're going to bring that front leg around, so the right leg around. So it's crossing over the mat. So the shin is across your mat. So the right knee comes towards the right wrist. Right ankle comes towards the left wrist. And from here, we're going to fold forward into our pigeon pose. So if this isn't an option for you, if folding forward from here like so isn't an option for you, you can keep the hips down on the floor and stay in those figure 4 legs and fold forward over your right leg like so, if that works better for you. If you've got the space to have the left leg back and to fold forward from here, please do that. From here, you can release the forehead down onto block or bolster, whatever type of options you might have there. And taking about 10 to 13 breaths here. So getting an opening in through the back of the right hip here, through the right butt muscles. Should be feeling a stretch. I'm taking about 2 or 3 more breaths here. And then slowly starting to push the hands back down into the mat. Lifting back up slightly. And from here, coming to all fours, taking a little round of cat-cow here. Inhale, dip the belly. Awesome, and then exhale, round through. Inhale and exhale. Taking 2 more here. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. 1 more. Inhale and exhale. Coming back to neutral and then stepping the right foot forward. So we're coming into this low lunge type position. Hands are remaining on the floor. Sink the hips down towards the mat. And then the right toes point out towards the diagonal. And then from here, you can either stay here in this lunge, and if you want a little bit more, grabbing the right hand, pushing the right knee out towards the side. Keep a slight engagement through the belly to support you. Beautiful, a little bit of a hip opener here, a couple of them in a row. If you want a little bit more, yet again, we're only going to be here for about 4 to 5 breaths this time. Reach the right hand up and over and around, maybe grabbing that left foot and sink the hips down, open out through the chest. Let's take about 4 or 5 breaths here. Taking 1 more breath in here. Slowly release that left foot, coming back to all fours. Take a little round of cat-cow. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And then from here, slowly coming back over, sitting onto your butt, so you come around in a whole entire circle. Bring the knees and feet wide. Give the knees a little bit of a hug in a seated position. And from here, release the knees over to the left-hand side or to the opposite side, depending on which way you went last time around. From here, twisting the body around, coming into those figure 4 legs with the twist. So the same place we started on the other side. Using bolster, cushions, rolled up towel, blanket, pillow, and folding forward over that. If your elbows are on the floor, that's okay as well. And releasing onto the cushion, bolster, block, whatever you have. Let the head relax here. So you're getting a twist through the spine, through the core, and an opening out through this right hip here. So that top hip, you'll feel an opening, and front of that top leg. And then from here, pushing the hands back into the floor, lifting up through the spine, up through the shoulders, and then bring yourself back around to the front or to that sort of all fours, semi all fours position. Hands plant down on the mat, and that left knee comes to the left wrist. Left ankle comes towards the right wrist, so your shin is across the front of the mat or somewhere near that. And we're going to fold forward over that bolster, coming into that pigeon pose on the other side. And then from here, slowly rising up, pushing the hands back into your mat, lifting up through the shoulders. Beautiful. Tucking the back toe under if you need. Coming back to that all fours position. Take a round of cat-cow here. Exhale, round through. Inhale to look up. And exhale, round through. Beautiful. Stepping that left foot forward so the toes point out at that 45-degree angle. And let's sink the hips down and open. Beautiful. Option if you want a little bit more. Use your left hand to push the left knee out to the side. Beautiful. And third option, if you want a little bit more, yet again, reach around, grab the right foot and let the hips sink down, open the chest. This last version is very strong through the hips, through the front of that right leg. I'm going to take about 3 or 4 more breaths here. And slowly release that leg. Awesome. Beautiful. Coming back to all fours. Take a round of cat-cow here. And exhale, taking it nice and slowly. Beautiful. Coming back to a neutral spine. Stepping the right foot forward again. Give it a helping hand if you need. Removing cushions, bolsters, blocks out of the way. And then from here, let's straighten the front leg. Keep the hips over that back knee. Straighten the front leg, folding forward over the front leg. So we're going to come into this half Hanuman shape that we did in our class yesterday, for those of you who were online yesterday morning. If you need a little bit of support, you can have the hands on a block or something like that, or on your cushion, that kind of thing, if you need to lift up a little bit. So you'll be getting a nice stretch through the hamstring and the back of the right leg here. So the hips stay level here. One more breath in. Release the left hand down to the floor. And from here, stepping it all the way back, coming into a modified side plank. So the bottom knee is on the floor. Right hand lifts up to the ceiling. Beautiful. Let's take a little pulse up, coming in. Exhale, knee to elbow, keeping it a little bit active. Exhale, release it out if this is an option for you. Otherwise, stay low. One more. Crunch it in and bring it back down to all fours. Beautiful. So just a little bit of activity to get that core firing a little bit. Stepping the left foot forward. From here, bring the hips back, straighten through the left leg. Make sure the left heel is in towards center. You fold forward over that left leg. Once again, using bolsters, blocks, cushions, whatever you have, if you need to lift the floor up towards your hands a little bit. Like I'm using a block here. Keep the hips nice and level over the top of that right knee. And take about 3 or 4 more breaths here. Getting a stretch through the right hamstring, keeping a little bit of engagement through the left foot, and keep a little bit of activity here so the foot's not just flopping all over the place. Taking one more breath. Exhale from here, releasing supports. Right hand comes down towards the mat. Release that left leg back, coming into that modified side plank. Shoulders stack over the top of one another. Keep the glutes engaged here, and we lift up through the left leg. Exhale, bring the knee to the elbow. Exhale, extend it out again. Exhale, knee to elbow. Extend and release back down towards the mat. Taking a round of cat-cow here. And exhale. Beautiful. Inhale, look up. And exhale, rounding through. Beautiful. Tucking the toes under here and walking the hands back. So the butt sinks down onto the heels. If you've got the space, sitting up, getting a stretch through the soles of the feet or the plantar fascia. It's where a lot of our plantar fasciitis and that kind of thing comes from. Hear that a lot from people, plantar fasciitis, pain in the soles of the feet. We don't stretch this connective tissue. So the fascia is actually a whole layer of connective tissue that runs throughout our whole entire body. And it actually holds all of our internal organs in place as well. So it's literally the mesh that holds our body together. Beautiful. Taking one more breath in here. Bringing the hands back down to the mat, tapping the toes, tops of the feet on the floor to give them a massage. Just like so, and we walk the hands forward, tuck the toes again, and pushing up to our first down dog of this class, believe it or not. Taking it for a little bit of a walk, so bend one knee, push the opposite heel down, and then changing sides. Awesome, beautiful. One more, change sides. And again, lucky last time here. Coming back to center, and from here, walk the feet forward to meet the hands, and coming into a ragdoll pose, grasping opposite elbows, bending through the knees here, making sure the chest and the belly are in contact with the thighs. If they're not, or you find that a little bit hard, grab your pillow, cushion, towel, blanket, whatever you have, and bring that on top of your thighs, bend the knees slightly, and fold forward like so. Wherever you are, making sure the shoulders stay somewhat away from your neck, so we don't want everything to be crunched up around your ears. Keep them down and away. Keep the neck largely free, so I should be able to sway my head from side to side like so, without too much of a problem. Beautiful. Taking 2 or 3 more breaths here. Head below the heart and heart below the hips.
traditionally think of this as much of an inversion, but it does actually function as a little bit of an inversion in our yoga practice. Taking 1 or 2 more breaths here. And then from here, slowly releasing that block bolster cushion if you've got that there. And then slowly rolling all the way up to stand. Take it nice and controlled, making sure you don't get dizzy, particularly if you've got any blood pressure issues or anything like that. Roll the shoulders over when you get there. Open everything out. Palms face forward into our Tadasana or mountain pose. So there's a slight tuck of the tailbone here. Engage the glutes, engage those muscles under the glutes, and a slight tuck of the chin and shoulders back and down. Engage the core. Take 1 more breath. Inhale, lift the arms all the way up overhead, and exhale. Bring the hands over towards the right-hand side for a side bend. Keep the weight evenly planted between the 2 feet. Take 1 more breath here. Inhale, lifting up, and then exhale, bring it over to the opposite side, to the left. Keep the gaze facing forward, shoulders away from the ears, weight evenly between the 2 feet. Inhale, lifting up, hands release down to the hips. Inhale, lift the chest, and then exhale, roll the shoulders back and down, coming into a back bend. Keep some engagement through the core to help support you. Push the hips forward, shoulders drop back. Weight stays even on the feet. So not letting all the weight come back into the heels, not letting all the weight come into the balls of the feet. Keep everything even. Keep an engagement through the muscles here. You can let the head come back if that doesn't cause too many neck issues. Any neck issues, keep that slight tuck of the chin to prevent any neck issues. Inhale, slowly lift up. Come back to that neutral spine with the tuck of the tailbone. Core draws in. Inhale, arms rising up, and then exhale down through heart center. Let's go 1 more. Inhale, arms to rise. Exhale, slowly fold all the way forward. And then heel toe the feet to about mat width apart, toes point out. You may choose to grab a block, your cushion, towel, whatever you have, and sink the hips down onto that support, coming into a yogi squat or malasana. So your option is to have some support underneath the hip bones like I do with your cushion or bolster, block, whatever you have. Maybe if you want a little bit more opening through the hips, use the elbows to push the knees out towards the side, as long as you can keep the shoulders nice and tall and open. So we don't want to be hunching around in like so. Keep the shoulders nice and open. If your heels start to lift off the floor, that's absolutely fine as well. Keeping everything nice and supported here. And from here, slowly start to release. Maybe bring the hands around, popping down onto the mat. Let the legs release out nice and long. And then from here, I'll offer you a couple of different options
First option, you can bring the right leg up and over the top of the left leg, just like so. If you want a little bit more, you can wrap the left heel around like so, as long as you can keep the hips on the floor. Inhale, left arm lifts up, and then exhale, twist it around towards the right leg, the right knee. Give the right knee a little bit of a hug, or you can hook the elbow over the top like so. As long as your spine remains tall and upright, we don't want to be hunching into anything. So keep the shoulders away from the ears, spine tall and upright. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then slowly coming back to center, coming into a little counter twist. And then coming back to center again. Releasing the legs, coming into a little forward fold. And then slowly rising back up, coming onto the other side. So crossing left heel, left ankle over the top of the right foot. And then if you've got the space, bring that right heel back around towards the body, as long as you can get your hips onto the floor like so. Beautiful. Option, obviously, to keep your right leg out long. Inhale, lift the left arm, give yourself a nice hug, or alternatively, if you've got the space, elbow over knee. Use the core to generate the twist here rather than leveraging on the arms. Use your core for the twist. So you see I can remove my arms and I'm largely staying in exactly the same position. That's what we want. So we don't want to release the arms and find we're coming back to here. If you're here, just the little hug is fine. So it's a nice gentle hook of the arm. Use that back hand to help keep the spine upright. Taking 1 more breath in here. Then coming back to center. Once again, releasing the legs out long. Take a little forward fold. And then coming back up to center. From here, we're going to take, I'm going to give you a couple of options for our last pose before Shavasana. Grabbing your cushion, bolster, block, whatever you have. And let's come in, bring the knees over your cushion, bolster, whatever you have. And then from here, lifting the hips up onto that bolster, and then letting the shoulders come down onto the mat. Highly graceful, I know. And just making the adjustments you might need. So your first option is to stay here with the hips supported by your block, bolster, whatever you have. And keep the knees in towards center. And so you're in this supported bridge pose. So this is option 1. Option 2, if you want a little bit more through the fronts of the hips, you can release the legs out long and come into this bow shape. And then option 3, if you want a little bit more, yet again, if you want a full inversion, you can bring the feet up towards the sky and come into this full inversion. This can feel quite nice if you've been running around a lot during the day. Even just before bed, sticking the feet up towards the sky lets everything drain, all the lymph fluid and that kind of thing that might pool in the feet and ankles. Lets that drain back down towards the heart. Finding that spot where you can just let everything balance. Finding whichever position works for you. Just because I'm taking one option doesn't mean you have to take exactly the same option. Find the option that's going to work best for your body and the one that just feels really good. If none of these feel good, maybe modify to something else entirely. Taking 2 or 3 more breaths here, wherever you are. Wherever you are, coming back via this supported bridge pose, bring the feet to the floor. The hips will remain elevated on your cushion, bolster, block, towel. And then from here, pushing into the feet, lifting up through the hips, and just push or roll that cushion, bolster, or pull that support down out from underneath your hips and bring it underneath your knees. And coming to lie back down on your back, feeling the knees supported. Keeping the knees bent like this will give a bit of support to the lower back. Make the lower back come into a really neutral sort of position. Feet will fall out to the side. Taking about 10 to 12 breaths here in our Shavasana or corpse pose. Taking about 2 or 3 more breaths here. If you want to rest a little bit longer this afternoon and you've got the time, feel free. Otherwise, take a little roll through the fingers and hands, ankles and feet. And then slowly rolling over to your preferred side, whatever that might be. Taking about 2 breaths here on your side. And then slowly coming up to a comfortable seat. Whatever that looks like for you. Once you arrive in your seat, bring the hands to the heart center. Bring the hands in. My quote for you today is from Matthew Ricard. I think I may have used this quote before, but I thought so good. We expend a lot of our effort to improve the external conditions of our lives, but in the end, it is always the mind that creates the experience of the world and translates it into well-being or suffering. If we transform our way of perceiving things, we transform the quality of our lives. Bring the thumbs to the forehead, and to each other we say, Namaste. Thank you for joining me today, guys. If you've got any comments or questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer those for you. Otherwise, have a lovely rest of the afternoon. If you're resting there, please feel free to jump off the Zoom and stay there. Otherwise, I hope to speak with you soon.